Hey guys, so I just wanted to do a quick test for the Endless or Eternal Mona Raiden Burst team setup. So the team burst setup requires high energy recharge on your characters. What I'll be doing for this test, I'll be using a level 20 2-star weapon for Raiden. For Mona is a Falvonius Codex, also at level 20. I'm sure a lot of players would have this weapon as it's quite accessible. And just an energy recharge bow on Fischl, just because that, she just needs a bit more energy recharge. Bennett is just using a level 1 Falvonius sword, so his buff is not going to matter. So if Raiden gets pushed away by the Primogeo Visharp, away from Bennett's ult, don't worry about it. The main focus of this video is to determine how to get an endless burst stream with this team setup. So Bennett has 200 energy recharge, Fischl has 198 recharge, Raiden is 220, which is a bit low for Raiden, but that's because she's not using any proper weapon at the moment. With Mona, she also has 200. So the expectation for this team to have is around about, let's just say 190 to 210 energy recharge for all the supports. And Raiden will probably need more for her damage output. So I'm just going to demonstrate here. And put down one of this, drop down this, yep. And then repeat. So I already killed it, so I would have done this, and then done this again, then done this, drop down E, and then done this, and then done this, and then that. And then that's how this Eternal energy recharge team really works. I'm going to cover quickly the build and my suggestion of weapons and artifacts to use for this team. So for all three supporting members for Raiden, you want to ensure that they all have at least 190 energy recharge. At least one of the three needs to hold a Falvonius weapon. You don't need to give Falvonius weapons to all of them, just one of them, because the rotation will require at least one of them to cast out their elemental skill or their elemental burst. And most likely, if you've got good crit rate stats, you will proc the effect of the Falvonius weapon. So a good choice would be to put it on Mona, and then make Fischl have a little bit more damage output. But it's quite flexible with this team setup because you can literally pick one out of the three to give a Falvonius weapon to, while the other two you want to build them for a more DPS damage structure. So that's just only my suggestion for weapons for the team here. You can use Lost Prayer or any other weapon for Mona. You could probably use Woodstiff if you want, if you don't seem to have any energy recharge issues with the rotation. And then put Fischl with Falvonius bow. But that's up to you, depending if you have one. You just need one for one of the three. That's my suggestion for weapons. For artifacts, do not use this set. This is the only set that can provide me a high amount of energy recharge with decent crit rate and crit damage. My suggestion is to use the Emblem of Severed Fate set. This will assist with Mona's energy recharge even further and also allowing her to do some extra damage on her elemental burst. You can also choose to use the Tenacity or Millirith set as well for her, but that is entirely optional. For Fischl, she is using the Tenacity Millirith set, but you can also change that out for a more damage output set, such as the Thunder Soothers or the 2-piece Thunder Fury or the 2-piece Gladiators, and that will work really well as well. And then you could do that, and then you could give Mona the Tenacity. Either way, that's also very flexible as well too. For Raiden, it's obvious. It's the Emblem of Severed Fate set, a full set that will make her do the most damage out of the team. Because you're heavily relying on her output, you're going to have to focus on making sure that her gear is very highly invested. I know this is not very accessible to begin with, but the team is focused all around being dependent on Raiden. So essentially, you have to make sure that she's got some good artifacts to go with. For her weapon is either the catch or the engulfing lightning. Either one of them, I'm sure it's accessible. The catch is free to play. It's accessible, so it's definitely the best in slot 4 start for Raiden. For Bennett, basically you could potentially give him the Aquila Favonia sword on him, or you could just probably give him a bit more DPS, so when he does his burst in the beginning, at least he's doing some extra damage. But if you are suffering in terms of survival, my suggestion is to give him full HP artifacts so he can give some healing to Raiden if Raiden's taking too much damage in your team. But if your Raiden's not taking too much damage in your team, just build him with DPS stats with energy recharge provided. So that was just a quick overview of this particular team structure. There are multiple teams that do also very extremely well for certain cases. Even Mona, Raiden, and Sarah do really well, but that's not necessarily an endless burst team. That's more of a more damage dealing team in a more different kind of approach. Different characters create different results. What I'm trying to aim for here is an endless burst team. Without Fischl in the team, it just makes it very difficult for the energy recharge for all party members to really occur. So I am still working on a Raiden Mona guide video that will consist on multiple flexible characters that can work very well with them together. I will try to pump this out within this week. Alright, see you around guys.